those of you who are out of the area, this is Paul Puckett. I'm still here. And I thought you all might want to see that it's not that bad. It's still raining. The roads, for the most part, are fine. As you can see, I'm entering the club at the main entrance. And I'll drive up and down a couple of streets just to give you an idea that everything looks fine. Keep in mind, we only got a brush from Hermine, assuming I'm pronouncing it correctly. And therefore, there should not be much damage. A couple of branches down here and there. As you can see, the main clubhouse is not flooded. Everything looks pretty good. I don't think anybody's playing golf. I doubt they're even allowing anybody to play golf. Have no fear, by the way. Yes, I'm holding the phone while I drive. But should there be a problem, I'll drop the phone. Took a ride on Grand Estuary. There's a look down Heritage next to Tributary 1. And as you can see, the road is fine. We're going to go all the way down. This is going to be a very boring video. I would like to repeat one piece of advice. We're waiting on the air conditioner repairman because the power fluctuation has kicked off our compressor. And if you live out of the area and you have a home service that goes in to check things, you may want to make sure they check and make sure your air conditioning system is working. You don't want to end up with mold unnecessarily after the storm. I'm passing between Estuary 1 and I believe Tributary 3. And as you can see, the ponds are elevated, but not too bad. And this is the entrance to River Preserve. And as you can see, streets look pretty good through there. I'm only going down the main drag, so my apologies. I'm sure most of you do not live on the main drag. The only flooded spot I'm aware of, and it's not bad, is in front of the 4 relatively new terrace condominiums on the west side of River Strand in the 6500 block. Coming around now on Grand Estuary, there's some of the terrace condominiums. Everything looks fine. And some things don't change. I'm currently being tailgated for some reason, even though I'm slightly above speed limit. He turned. These are some of the coach homes that border Estuary 3. For those of you who play golf, if I get one wrong, I apologize. Here's another, that's a view out heading towards Estuary 5 and 6. Pond is elevated, but as you can see, well, not really doing a good job with the engineering. The streets are fairly elevated, and very, very little flooding throughout the storm. My apologies for bouncing the cell phone a bit. We're going to do a U-turn and rejoin the video when we get back to, I'll do River Hammock, and then head back to where we're currently renting while we wait for our place to be built. For everyone's general amusement, they still haven't put the full roof on our new place. I would have preferred a new roof before this hit, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Since we're seeing a little bit of stuff in the parking lot, that should give you an idea. Just loose palm fronds. By the way, if you decide to move one, a couple of species of Florida palms have 1/4-inch long thorns on the side, the length of the branch. Floridians aren't smarter than anybody else. We just cut our hands when we were kids, so we tend to know what not to touch. So if you see an innocent-looking palm frond and you're down here seeing this video, you might want to consider not grabbing it until you look to see if it's the species that has the thorns. Otherwise, it's a fairly painful experience. I've decided to leave the video on because it won't take us that long. Again, this is going to be a boring video, but you don't have to watch the whole thing, and you can fast forward to where your street is. Assuming you live off of Grand Estuary or River Hammock. I'm going to turn, since we already saw the clubhouse, and see if there's any flooding back in the lower area of the neighborhood towards River Hammock. And then head to the other end of Grand Estuary, and the video will be done. Again, this is just the rain that we're getting now is just a trailing um, piece. The storm itself is probably 300 miles from here now, up in Georgia. And this is just a different view as we approach the clubhouse on Grand Estuary. Getting back to that air conditioning thing, you just want to make sure your system is still running. And you never know. Wouldn't hurt to have somebody check, make sure that you're not a house that has a leak. Because if you have a leak, this is the perfect time to find it. Here we go. It's been raining for basically 2 solid days. Just took the turn, and as you can see, everything looks good. Road's wet, but so far just puddles. My apologies. I know probably most of you watching this don't live on the main drags, but everything I've driven through in the other areas in the specific neighborhoods, it looks exactly like this does. So picture your house with this road, and you're probably not far off the mark. I'm not seeing anything startling. As a matter of fact, it's surprising how few branches are down. There have been a few crews out working on this, that, or the other. But things look good. Yeah, we're down to the lower end. This is River Hammock I'm coming up on. The street I was just on was Winding Brook. And I'm turning on River Hammock. And again, nothing remarkable. I'm not turning the camera, but I'm glancing over the verandas that are on River Hammock. And on the surface, they look fine. I'm not seeing any branches or trees or things lying on the roof. There's a brief glimpse over that way. I'm now turning left onto Grand Tributary. And as you can see, as I said, boring video, but if I were not living in the area currently, I would want to know that everything is boring. These wildlife conservation areas are where most of the flooding is. They lie lower. Commendations to kudos to Lennar and the way they laid out the development, as those areas are really designed to flood when this stuff happens. And in Florida, you can anticipate this happening periodically. We've been lucky for about a decade. Yet I'm not seeing anything in the road, as I'm sure you can tell. And we're on Grand Estuary now, near the models, the Lennar office. The veranda's over there. And really not much going on. Naturally, the only place where the water crosses the road is right before the unit that we're renting while we wait for ours to be built. For those of you who are having houses built, you'll be happy to know there are men working today, despite the weather. I guess the show must go on. And as you can see, the pickup truck ahead is beginning to encounter the only flooded area I've seen. This is next to the new pool on Grand Estuary in the 6500 block. And the water here, if you're in a small car, I'm not, the water here is probably a foot deep. So this is the only area where I've seen any flooding. As you can see, there's a branch down over here. So that's the view today from River Strand. No, this is a hobby, but since I live here and thought you guys might like to see it, here it is for what it's worth. When you get back in town, say hi. Take care. Bye-bye.